I just can't with this. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Built Bar, and we'll be reviewing Vanessa Tiiu's guide on how to be that girl and sharing my overall thoughts on this controversial TikTok trend. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor, Built Bar. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do try not to plan the recording of my videos around snack time because I get a little extra feisty, which I know some of you actually like. But I love when it's a Built Bar sponsor day because it just brings me down on the hanger scale, and that just levels me out a little bit. But you guys know I don't love a whole lot of different kinds of protein bars out there. Most of them taste like chalk masquerading as a health food. I'm not for that. Oh no, oh no. But these bad boys taste like a chocolate bar with the added bonus of the fact that they are packed with protein. So folks, let's take a look at which one we're having today. Ooh, there's lots of faves in here, but the mint chocolate, she's calling my name. Oh my gosh. Travesty. Dave. She good. And 17 grams of protein. So you guys know this is a lower sugar bar. So I often like to turn this into a hunger crushing combo by pairing it with like an apple with peanut butter or some avocado toast to just build out a more satiating, bigger snack or meal. And if you want to give these bars a try, check out my promo code AbbeySharp15 for 15% off of your order, and you can check out the link in my description. Also, you can pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. As always, please feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are not already subscribed, hit that sub button, ring that bell, and follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Abby's Kitchen. All right, folks. Let's settle in. So if your TikTok For You page looks anything like mine, then you've seen more of your fair share of videos on how to be that girl. Who that girl is or where she came from, I do not know. But basically, these videos are intended to serve as motivation to be your healthiest, most productive self. And while I fully support self-development, healthy habits, and doing the things that make you feel great, I do have a bit of a bone to pick with the toxic messaging that this trend can sometimes perpetuate. And obviously, I want to talk about it. Now, as always, Google is reading my mind because Vanessa's guide on how to be that girl just like popped up in my suggested videos this week. And I thought it would be a good jumping off point to discuss this trend. So let's take a look.
Personally, I really think that girl trend is about being productive and it's supposed to be really motivating. It's more so working towards the best version of yourself, being that ideal girl that you have in your head, and it looks different for everybody. And I really think that this trend motivates people to keep growing and like change little things in their daily routines, daily habits that they can implement that overall just helps to improve their life.
Okay, so in short, Vanessa describes the that girl trend as an external motivator to help you be your best self, whatever that looks like uniquely for you. Now, while I agree that what works for you might not work for someone else, I do feel like this context and nuance often does get lost within like a 30-second TikTok. Instead, a lot of the videos come off as being very prescriptive and inauthentic. Basically, just copy and pasted footage of all the aesthetically pleasing ways that that girl lives her life and how she miraculously does it all before 9 a.m. And while this might be motivating for some people, like Vanessa, who can maybe easily integrate this lifestyle into their day-to-day life, it can also fuel feelings of guilt and inadequacy in others, if their routines don't align with that girl. In other words, my concern is that this trend paints a perfect ideal that just might not be attainable for 99.99% of people who have, obligations, responsibilities, or even just aspirations beyond the life they portray online. But more on that later. For now, let's jump into Vanessa's guide on how to be that girl.
Personally, I feel like the that girl day starts with the night routine. I'm gonna get up at 5:50. Some of the other little habits that I picked up were drinking a lemon water, doing gratitude and journaling, which I do sometimes, I don't do every day. Going for a morning walk, green juice, morning workout, healthy breakfast, to-do lists, all that good stuff.
Anyone else feel overwhelmed by this? Because I feel overwhelmed. And I am speaking as someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. naturally and likes early productive mornings. But the performance of this feels like a lot. Does everyone stretch in their bed when their alarm goes off? Because I literally either roll out or jump out depending on how desperate my kids' screams are. But anyways, if you like an early morning wake up and also have the flexibility to dedicate several hours to a comprehensive morning routine before starting the workday, then amazing.
Do you, boo-boo?
But I also want to validate those folks who just don't have that kind of time or energy or money or flexibility in their day. And it doesn't mean you're not that girl or that you're lesser than or that you're failing or that you even need to change anything about the way you do things. It just means that you're honoring your needs and what's manageable for you. And while I'm a strong believer that routines can be a very powerful productivity tool, with research suggesting that they can support mental health and give you a sense of purpose, but it's also worth noting that routines do take a lot of time to establish, with some research suggesting that it can take anywhere from 2 to 4 months for healthy behaviors to become habitual. It's also important to start small to ensure it's something that you can actually sustain or that you want to sustain. So find what feels good to you, add something in or take something out, switch it up day to day, or stick to the same routine. Whatever works, you don't need to add a bunch of tasks to your morning if the end results just leave you feeling more overwhelmed and stressed out.
Because I didn't have any lemons, so we are having warm lime water. Okay, it's not horrible. So I'm gonna do my little 5-minute gratitude journal as well as my daily to-do list.
So it wouldn't be a healthy girl morning routine without a classic lemon water feature.
Well, when life gives you lemons.
Or in her case, lime water. But regardless, I am glad that she's starting her morning with some hydration without the pseudoscience lemon water claims. But lemon water aside, for Vanessa, being that girl isn't just about taking care of your physical health, but also your mental and emotional well-being. And that's why she tries to focus on gratitude and her daily to-do list in the morning. Now, there is research to support a link between gratitude and mental health, as it can help to provide a greater sense of well-being and life satisfaction, as well as being a protective factor against feelings of depression and anxiety. Research also shows that creating a to-do list can help to kind of declutter your mind, help you feel more organized, and reduce feelings of stress. But again, we need these tasks to help rather than hinder us. So if you have an extra 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to dedicate to these tasks in a way that is manageable and not daunting, then amazing. But if it's not something that you find personally helpful, then I would say it's not for you. Okay, next up, Vanessa goes for a 30-minute walk followed by an outdoor workout, which strongly aligns with the that girl trend of getting in that morning sweat sesh. So some folks do prefer movement in the morning, myself included, as it can really help to energize them before they start their day. And there is even research supporting moderate intensity exercise in the morning as a way to help boost cognitive functions like decision-making, memory, and attention. In other words, your morning workout does not need to be super intense or rigorous to reap the brain boosting benefits. But I also get that not everyone has the time or energy to do like a 1-hour workout in the morning, or maybe they prefer to exercise at the end of the day when the pressure of the day is behind them. I say a little goes a long way, and again, you don't have to do too much too fast. Start small and see what works and feels manageable for you. Okay, so another aspect of being that girl is eating healthy aesthetic meals, which can be a bit problematic when taken into disordered eating territory, but I'm gonna get further into that later on. So if I put my dietitian hat on, I of course love that we're getting lots of carbs and fiber from the oats and the fruit to refuel those energy stores after her morning workout. Plus we're getting some protein and fat from the peanut butter and some more fats from the coconut chips. Now, if we really want to optimize our post-workout meal for protein muscle synthesis, we could sneak in some extra protein here, maybe by cooking this with soy milk, some whipped egg whites, or some silken tofu, or topping it off with some hemp hearts and or chia seeds.
Something else that I haven't talked about yet, but I feel like I should because I've seen this in a lot of routines as well, is reading and like reading for enjoyment or reading for self-improvement.
Now, the rest of Vanessa's pursuit of being that girl involves doing some work while she eats her breakfast, followed by some grocery shopping and reading her book before she makes lunch. Again, if you have the flexibility in your day to dedicate to personal chores and leisure activities like reading, amazing. But I think I can speak for most of us when I say that, if you're working a 9 to 5 or you're a full-time student or you're a stay-at-home parent, pausing for a few hours in the middle of the workday to do any of the above is highly unrealistic. So if you're watching this and racking your brain as to how the you're gonna fit all of this stuff into your day and still somehow tend to your professional, academic, or parenting obligations, take this as a reminder that you do not have to do it all. Focus on what is manageable, even if it doesn't look anything like this. With that said, let's take a look at what that girl eats for lunch.
Vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and some Italian seasoning.
So I like that we're getting more protein in this lunch meal compared to her breakfast, thanks to the tuna and the chickpeas as well. We're also getting tons of healthy fats from the avocado and the green olives, as well as some fiber and micronutrients from all the veggies. I also like that she's having a green juice as like an add-on to her meal and not as the star of the show. She also mentioned earlier in the video that she'll usually make some kind of like a green smoothie instead of green juice because it's just more satiating for her. But in the interest of being that girl, she opted for the green juice instead. So I get that she made the switch for the purpose of this video, but this also speaks to the impact of a trend like this and how it can alter your already quite healthy habits just to fit into someone else's ideal. Folks, a green juice won't inherently make you healthier the same way that drinking lemon water or waking up at 5 a.m. won't either. And if you want my expert yet totally moot point opinion, the smoothie, which she was having before becoming that girl, would have actually been a healthier choice. But unfortunately, the messaging from these videos, as well as other kind of similar wellness trends like what I eat in a day videos, feed us a surface level picture of what healthy should look like. And a lot of these rules are total BS. Now, with all that said, here are 4 reasons why I think the that girl trend is problematic. Number 1, it perpetuates toxic social media comparison. You know the saying, comparison is the thief of joy? Well, this is actually supported by scientific evidence. Research suggests that idealistic social comparison on social media can impact self-esteem, and prolonged use can increase feelings of depression, anxiety, and stress. It can also create social pressure to create an online image that aligns with that of your peers. In other words, focusing too much on what that girl is doing just fuels feelings of inadequacy if you're not being productive enough, working out enough, waking up early enough, eating healthy enough, etc. And while some days it may feel great to do all of these things, it can also push you beyond your bandwidth, which is the perfect recipe for burnout. What I want you to remember here is that social media is just a highlight reel and is not an accurate representation of everyday life. So a lot of us aren't seeing when that girl takes a break. Now, reason number 2 is that it presents one unified image of healthy. The that girl trend pushes a one-size-fits-all ideal of what living your best, healthiest life should look like. And while I appreciate that Vanessa prefaces her video by acknowledging that one person's healthiest self can look very different from someone else's, her guide still follows the exact same formula as pretty much every other video I've seen on the trend, which again, unfortunately demonstrates a very narrow and privileged definition of health. I would love to see a that girl video that feels a little less carbon copy and a little more authentic to that unique individual, and maybe even showcases some of the more boring and less aesthetic ways that someone feels like their best self. Because a lot of the time, feeling good doesn't always look aesthetic or glamorous. Sometimes it means coming out of a therapy session and having a good cry, or taking a long ass nap, or digging into some comfort foods that are unique to your culture, or having a really good, embarrassing belly laugh. It's okay if working on yourself is boring and mundane and imperfect. That to me is far more relatable and accessible than creating an idealistic expectation of how you should be living. Now, reason number 3 is it may promote disordered eating. One of the main staples of this trend is what you eat and how much you work out. And this message is almost exclusively coming from thin women. In other words, it pushes the narrative that in order to be accepted into the that girl club, you must only eat healthy food, work out every day, and have a small, privileged body. The implicit goal then is no longer about being productive and feeling your best, but instead is about looking good by toxic social media standards. And for those with histories of disordered eating and eating disorders, this can be highly triggering and is the same messaging that fuels orthorexic tendencies. In fact, research has shown a strong association between frequency of social media use and disordered eating among young people. And just given the fact that TikTok is highly unregulated to begin with, this trend only feeds into the diet culture rhetoric just running rampant on your For You page. Finally, reason number 4, it's not realistic or accessible to most folks. What bugs me about this trend in particular is that it creates an unrealistic standard that your productivity and health are only valid if they look a certain way. That you should have multiple hours at your disposal to make an Instagram-worthy breakfast, drink a liter of lemon water, go for a hot girl walk, do a full Pilates workout with the cute matching set, drink your green juice, write in your journal, meditate, shower, do your 10-step skincare routine, and read 2 chapters of a best-selling book, all before 9 a.m. Who has that kind of time? Like, even on a weekend, it's a lot. So balancing work and life as that girl all day, every day, is next to impossible, especially for women with family responsibilities. So don't kill yourself in pursuit of trying to do it all because social media has told you to. I mean, life is chaotic, it's unpredictable. And in COVID times, it is hella exhausting. Like, some of us over here are just trying to survive another day. I can't do this no more. So maybe that girl for you looks nothing like the girls on TikTok. Maybe that girl is working on fostering more self-love. Maybe that girl spends her days dedicated to working hard and finishing her degree so she can land her dream job. Maybe that girl shows up to therapy to heal her trauma and tend to her emotional needs. Maybe that girl works by day and raises her family by night. Maybe that girl sleeps until noon when her body needs rest and doesn't feel guilty about it. Maybe that girl eats balanced meals most days but doesn't eat any vegetables other days. Maybe that girl is breastfeeding 2 babies at once. For most of us, that girl is not the same girl. And that girl doesn't look the same every day. And most of the time, self-improvement is not aesthetic or glamorous. But the point is, that girl should be unique to you and not something that TikTok tells you it should be. So on that note, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Built Bar for sponsoring. If you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.